Let us understand some basic concepts about budgeting. Etymologically speaking, budget comes from the word bauget. Bauget means a leather bag, and that leather bag in which those uh, documents of the budgets were carried initially, and that's from where the word this budget has come. Well, in this we understand that there's a lot of politico-financial connect is there. One has to really understand the government when they're trying to bring budget so that they are really ensuring the supply or the blood that moves into the system in the form of money and sources, they are uniformly maintained. There are constitutional requirements for that. You know that our country is a federal system. That means the budget is to be presented one at the national level and various state level also we have got budget being presented. I like you to look into the articles of the Constitution which connect to that directly. There's so many more articles which connect to it. However, the budget as a direct reference word may not be there, but annual financial statement is the word there. Article 112, Article 202 that will talk about state provision of that. Similarly, 116 article, the procedure or the method through which this annual financial statement has to be gone through at the union level. For the state level, you have to go for Article 203. These articles I like you to read, and that will give you some idea as to how one can really organize. Then also, uh, budget presentation in our country is a major event. The whole nation is looking forward to that. And then, when the whole nation is looking forward to that, 28th of February has traditionally been our date for presentation of budget. But then, as you know, that our financial year starts from 1st April. So there used to be a very small amount of window available for the nation to talk and discuss about the budget, its ramification and everything before it passes. And then we were entering into somehow into the next financial year. Now what has happened? In the current time, in 2021, we have preponed the presentation of budget. Our financial year starts on the same time, that is on 1st of April. But then we have pulled the date of presentation to 1st of February from 2021. And this is where we get more time to discuss about the budget and talk about it. And that's how the situation is much more controlled. Well, the budget basically talks about, I would call it as allocation of funds at different places like in public goods and services. I mean, that's the most common thing that we have got in the budget you will find. For non-rivalrous, I mean, where we would not see that, hey, what is we are getting from there, and then only accordingly we will allocate the funds. No, wherever we need it. We don't have to go for kind of zero sum, like, I mean, if you give me, then I give you, or if you give me less, I'll give you less. No, no, not that kind of thing. Non-rivalrous allocation is done. Also, non-excludable. That's where we understand our country is a socialist country. We have lots of socialist commitment. And then all those people who cannot be afforded to be lost out, this non-excludable has to be specifically given thought about, and then they are covered in that. Also, they are the financial statement or budget is also working for redistribution of funds, like through the transfers they make to specific sectors and sections of the people, and also the taxes through which they try to suck some money from somewhere, and then they have some money to be invested in some other area. That is where we have got a constitutional requirement on the DPSP also. That is, we are trying to make a uniform society, socialist in nature. Also, a stabilization of the system is done so that no sector gets overheated in the process, and that is another aspect that we have got. Also, while you are reading the chapter, you would find about the budget, there are two specific things that need to be kept in mind. One is that revenue budget and the capital budget. Revenue budget basically deals with those non-asset creation aspects of the budget, recurring in nature, which happens more than once. Whereas capital budget deals with those asset creation and non-recurring kind of thing. Revenue is like keep happening, non-asset creation. I hope you understand that if you want to construct the road, that would go into capital budgeting. But if you're maintaining the road, that would come under revenue expenditure. So you will find that now we understand two heads, revenue and capital. In that also, there will be revenue receipt and revenue expenditure. Similarly, capital receipt and capital expenditure, the budget will give different highlights. And this receipt of the revenue nature, you can possibly go for the tax and non-tax receipt. In the tax also, you can go for direct tax and indirect tax. And then in non-tax, I mean, you can have so many more that earning by the government institutions, etc. Dividends the government get from the PSUs, they would also be counted as part of it. Nevertheless, without making it sound too technical, we have got a two-level, the budgets are there, revenue budget as well as capital budget. And then the government tries to manage that the deficits are not going out of control. We have a FRBM commitment, fiscal responsibility and budget management related provision that we have got, where we are committed to maintain this within certain bands. Revenue deficit, I think that is very obvious if you understand. If you just look at the revenue part of it, revenue expenditure minus revenue receipt, that will be revenue deficit that we have got. Whereas the fiscal deficit will be like total expenditure minus total receipt, total expenditure minus total receipt, minus borrowing. You don't take the borrowing. And if you want to go into, I would call it as a primary deficit, then in that case, in gross fiscal deficit, you also take out the interest part of it, and then that becomes primary deficit. These all will be taken up in details in the class, but for now, I would like you to understand just these four terms like revenue deficit, fiscal deficit. Then also, I would like that you understand the primary deficit and the terms that we have got associated with objectives that we have got for the taxes. And I suppose this will give you an idea about how the budget gets presented. And tax, I have been repeatedly using this word several times, and I think it is very important for you to understand taxes as per the chapter that we have got. Taxes become a very, very important integral part of your SBR 53.